I really like Brandon Boston as a kid. And I can't understand, Wayne, why he hasn't been able to get it going. Like Devin Askew, he reclassified. I get that. That's hard to do when you're supposed to be your senior year of high school, and now you're the starting point guard at Kentucky. Brandon Boston is the one I just can't figure out. I think he's talented. And I think the biggest problem with him right now is the mental aspect. It's not the physical aspect. It's he's questioning himself for the first time in his career.
I think so too, and it's another level. And I think when you come into a big college basketball program like a Kentucky, you definitely have to be mentally prepared because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of adversity that happens throughout the season within the team, outside the team. And obviously, the most important part is being with inside the team. And I think, you know, when you're the star coming out of high school, and I've been in this position before, it's hard to accept that there's other stars on the team with you sometimes because you lose a little bit of that limelight in the beginning. And that's just maturity. I mean, and immaturity takes a toll on younger guys like that, especially when adversity hits. Brandon Boston happens to be one of my favorite freshmen. I think you're right. He's someone who's definitely who hasn't showed his best performance. I feel like I think that he's putting a lot of pressure on himself because the next level is talks. A lot of times when there's talks about the next level, you start to forget about what you're doing now and you worry about the future. And you set yourself up for failure when you do that. You have to take care of the now and then worry about the future later. And I think that's what he needs to focus a lot more on and help his team win. All the things he needs to do to help his team win is what he should be focusing on right now, not the NBA.
So they're 4-8 right now in the NCAA tournament. At large berth looks slim to none at this point. I've gotten emails, which I normally don't get a ton of these from Kentucky fans. And there's a frustration now growing, I believe, within the Kentucky community about Cal and the fact that he prioritizes, or they feel like he prioritizes, getting guys to the league over winning basketball games and winning championships. Because when you're a Kentucky fan, what do you want? You want to win. You want to get to a Final Four. You want to win a national title. That is the goal every single year. And the great thing with Cal is every year they feel like they have a chance to accomplish that, right? They did it once. They've been to multiple Final Fours, championship games. But now I think there's this growing frustration that Cal would rather have a player drafted number one than win a national title. Do you sense that within Kentucky? That again, I think he'd love both, obviously. But yes, I think he loves the fact of putting these guys in the NBA, and he can sell that to get other players. It's helped him, obviously, recruiting wise.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you can definitely, I mean, a kid is going to go to school where they're producing pros. And obviously, Kentucky has done that over the years, especially when Cal's been there. Kentucky's done that when I went to school there, but now it's happening at a rapid rate. And, there's some sort of sense of, okay, well, you can stay an extra year, but we got this next class coming in.
Right.
And, and that's become the norm at Kentucky is where if you go there, just expect to be recruited over. And I think, kids, I almost sense that they have that idea, or they probably won before they even signed to go to Kentucky. That's just my feeling. I could be wrong because I see kids leaving sometimes that probably should stay an extra year. So, and I wonder why not stay an extra year if you're not ready to make that jump just yet. Like, why be a second round pick when the goal is always to be a first round pick? I mean,
I guess, Wayne, it's twofold, right? Like, number one is they feel like, well, my stock's already dropped. I don't want to stick around. It could, like Brandon Boston is a good example. I was talking to somebody about this recently, and I said, Brandon Boston should come back for another year for sure. Unless something major changes here, he needs to come back. And they said to me, well, you know what? He's still a first round pick today. And if he comes back and he has a sophomore year like his freshman year, nobody's drafting him. And they're right. Like, it is a dilemma for a kid like Brandon Boston, who came in with all this hype, who looks the part, who, if you put him in a workout and he makes shots, let's face it, you're probably taking him in the first round somewhere, maybe even in the teens. So it is a dilemma. And then the other part of it is, listen, if you're good enough, you're gone after a year. If you're not good enough and you stick around, like you said, there's a reason, right? If you're sticking around, there's a reason. Generally, it's you're probably not good enough. Now, again, some guys like Nick Richards got better and bought in and quickly, but a lot of them, if like Terrence Clark, if he comes back, again, maybe somebody else takes his minutes. And then he goes from a guy that was, in his mind, on the mock drafts, same thing with Brandon Boston, a lottery pick, to somebody that's fallen out and doesn't even get a guaranteed contract. It's a tough one.
That is, because it's your future, and
Right.
it's your, it's your basketball career, something you've worked at your whole life, and that's a decision that I think you make with the coaching staff. You sit down with the staff, your family, and you make that decision, the best you can for yourself. I honestly think that Brandon Boston will turn it around. I feel like he's the type of player, he has that ability to where, skill wise anyway, and just potential wise, athleticism. Like, I think that he can definitely be someone, if he could turn it around, the team turns around.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree. I've been saying that all year. Like, if they have to have a wing scorer, not just a shooter, but they need a wing scorer. And Brandon Boston is that guy to me more than anybody. But I mean, you look at the numbers and it's like he's shooting 18% from three. 18. I thought he'd be their best shooter. Maybe Mintz, just because Mintz has been in college long enough. Can they turn it around? I think they can, Wayne, because I think the SEC can help them in that regard. I don't think the SEC is that difficult. You got some easy wins in there too. Now, nothing's been easy for Kentucky this year. I mean, Mississippi State was tough. Vandy wasn't that easy. They're all going to be grinders because they can't score right now. Like, that's the problem. Their defense is pretty good, but they can't score the ball. And it's no wing scores. Your point guard is gotten better in Askew, but he's not there. He's not even close. He'll come back. I think Devin Askew's going to have a good career in Lexington if people are patient with him. And, listen, Kentucky fans not known for their patience. They're not, and they can eat you up. And I hope this the fan base is at least aware of, like, these are young kids.